It was the most wonderful moment of my life. The moment when Jeff Gilbert told me he loved me. For 3 weeks, ever since I'd fallen in love with Jeff at first sight at a charity bazaar, I'd hoped and prayed he'd feel the same way about me. Now I knew he did. And yet, even as our kisses swept us out of this world, I felt a strange fear. How long could I hold him?
High time I met your family, young lady. You know I haven't any of my own, so yours will have to do for both of us. You never tell me a thing about any of them. Your father, your stepmother, that stepsister of yours.
The mere mention of my stepsister made my heart freeze. Rita, who could never bear to see me have anything she didn't have, especially if it was a man. She was the reason I'd never let Jeff call for me on our dates, but had always met him outside. With a man-snatcher like Rita in the family, I didn't dare introduce him. I can't stall him off any longer. Oh, well, he'd have to meet her sometime anyway. All right, Jeff, let's see. Tomorrow's Sunday. How about coming to dinner? There was something almost desperate in the goodnight kiss I gave Jeff when he took me home. A light shone in the living room window. The family was still up, but I had a lot of talking to do before Jeff met them. By this time tomorrow, would things still be the same between us? I stood there in the doorway, looking them all over before they saw me. My father, a patient, tired man who wanted only peace in his own home and never got it. My stepmother, who resented me ever since she'd married my father. And Rita, my stepsister, who stole every boyfriend I brought home. Hello, folks. How come you're home early, Rita? How was your date?
What a drip he turned out to be. What did you ever see in him, darling, before he decided he liked me better? I'd like to meet a really interesting man for a change.
Well, you will, but see that you keep your claws off him. I've asked Jeff Gilbert to dinner tomorrow. For once, I hope you'll remember he's mine. You've taken every boyfriend I ever had, but this one is different. Hands off, Rita.
Don't make me laugh. Can I help it if your man always fall for me? What do you want me to do? Get myself look like a hag?
Girls, stop this nonsensical quarreling. You know, Fran, if a man isn't willing to go, no other girl can get him away. It's a good thing Rita shows these men up for what they are. After all, if a man is that fickle, it's better to find out about it in time.
It's not that they're fickle. Rita does plenty to get them away. Look what she did to Russ. Gave him the impression I was two-timing him, dating someone else those nights I had to work late. And those lies she told Dave. Why do you do it, Rita? Once you get them, you don't want them anyway. You must hate me.
Fran, how ridiculous. Oh, for Pete's sake, can't a man have a moment's peace in his own house?
I lay awake all that night. That free-for-all fight hadn't accomplished a thing. Mother thought Rita just naturally attracted every man who dated me. Daddy still had no interest in anything except having a little peace and quiet. And Rita, I knew, was all set to take Jeff away from me out of sheer spite. When Jeff arrived for Sunday dinner, I introduced him to the family, my heart in my mouth.
Glad to know you, Mr. Gilbert.
How do you do?
I should devote my spare time to charity work too. Fran meets so many charming men that way. As though she didn't meet enough men in her office. It's too bad I work in such a small place and meet so few men and get so few dates. It just isn't fair, is it? But then Fran has that innocent look about her. I don't know how she does it. I suppose that's what gets her all her boyfriends.
The damage was done. Now I could only hope that Jeff wouldn't believe the things Rita has insinuated about me.
Your sister's a bit outspoken, isn't she?
That's not quite the right word. It was obvious that Rita had planted serious doubts about me in Jeff's mind, and also obvious that she'd fostered serious interest in herself.
She's very pretty, Rita, I mean.
Yes, she is.
You know, she looks as if she'd be the one to be, sophisticated rather than you. Appearances are deceiving, I guess.
Not only appearances, Jeff. It didn't take long for Rita's wiles to completely ruin my romance with Jeff. A week later, he was taking her out, not me.
Maybe I shouldn't tell you about Fran, but I can't just stand by and see her pull the wool over the eyes of as nice and sincere a man as you, Jeff.
Let's not talk about Fran, Rita. Let's talk about us.
I love Jeff Gilbert, and he'd still love me if he knew the truth. If I try to tell him about Rita, he'll think I'm jealous and lying, but I've got to do something to get him back. All that night and at the office the next morning, I racked my brain trying to think of some way to win back the man I loved.
Hello, beautiful. It couldn't be me you're daydreaming about, could it?
Then, in a sudden flash of inspiration, I knew what I was going to do.
Don't answer that. I know I'm not it. After the 20th turn down, I'm beginning to realize I just don't rate.
You give up too easily, Lee Williams. Try once more.
All right, I will. Not that it will do any good. Fran, honey, will you go out with me in the near future, such as tonight or earlier?
I will. What time shall I expect you at the house?
Did I hear right? Or has my mind finally cracked?
I know you're an irresponsible, carefree, happily confirmed bachelor, Lee, but I'll expect you at 8 anyway. I would have felt guilty about using Lee if I hadn't been sure it would make little, if any, difference to him. Lee made a big play for all the girls, but he wasn't falling for any of them. Hello?
Well, what are you so happy about?
Things do work out for the best, don't they, Rita? I've met the nicest man. It was love at first sight. Really, truly love, not just another infatuation. And just think, I was angry with you because of Jeff. Yet if it hadn't been for you, I'd still be stuck with Jeff and probably never have met Lee Williams. Thanks a million, Rita. I'm sorry I was so stupid and got angry, but Lee will be here at 8. I've got to take a shower and set my hair. I'm thrilled to pieces. Lee called for me at 8 o'clock. Lee, this is my sister Rita.
Wow, you never told me you had a sister like this.
That makes us even. Fran never told me she had a boyfriend like you. But then you managed to attract so many handsome men, don't you, darling? What do you do with them all?
Rita, please. It came off more smoothly than I had dared hope. Lee needed no coaxing. He asked Rita to join us, which she did, almost laughing in my face. So far, so good.
I do hope Fran doesn't make a scene. She's so jealous. She likes to monopolize every man in town.
Fran, are you kidding?
The next time Jeff came to see Rita,
If you'd phoned Jeff, I'd have told you I was breaking our date and saved you the trip. I'm going out with Lee Williams tonight.
I don't understand, Rita.
Please don't act dumb, Jeff. It's simply that I prefer his company to yours, just as you preferred mine to Fran's. It's just one of those things.
I see. Well, so long.
some days later, I accidentally ran into Jeff on his way home from work. I'm sorry about the way it turned out with Rita, Jeff. You liked her very much, didn't you?
Yes, but now I can't for the life of me see why. She may be beautiful, but she's heartless. Say, are you doing anything tonight? Maybe a reunion's in order. For old time's sake.
Well, I would like to go dancing. I knew that Lee Williams was taking Rita to the Glass Slipper that evening, so I asked Jeff to take me there. My plan was reaching its climax fast. I didn't have to engineer the meeting. We happened to be seated at adjoining tables.
How nice. Jeff and you together again. You got over your latest heartbreak fast, didn't you, Fran?
My latest heartbreak? What on earth are you talking about, Rita?
You were supposed to be in love with Lee, remember?
With Lee? Don't be ridiculous, darling.
But you told me you lied. It was just a trick to trap me.
Careful, Rita, you're trapping yourself.
A lot of things that I couldn't figure out before suddenly make sense to me. Let's get away from here, Fran.
Things are making sense to me, too. You went out with me only because you thought your sister loved me and you wanted to hurt her. I couldn't figure out why you were feeding me those ridiculous lies about her, but it adds up now. Only this time you lose. Goodbye.
Oh,
I was a stupid fool, but I managed to learn some of the answers tonight. Now I know why you hesitated about bringing me home to meet your folks. Rita's been pulling this sort of trick for a long time, hasn't she?
Yes, Jeff. I was always afraid she'd spoil my one real romance.
I don't expect you to forgive me right off the bat, Fran. But if you'll give me another chance, I promise you'll never be sorry. I love you. I'll never stop loving you. I know that now.
Oh, darling.